here, and always he's got the latest in court for us. Yesterday was quite busy. I mean, I saw excerpts of a video where the Attorney General and then your favorite judge, Justice Efia Asaribuchi, were going at each other. Richard Jakpa is still in court. The ambulance saga, 2.37 million euros.
Absolutely.
And now we are seeing the military in court too.
Yes, yesterday I can tell you that majority of people in the courtroom were all uniform men.
Green men.
Yeah, absolutely. So yesterday, before the case even started, we were wondering once in a while, then you see two military officers climbing. I was like, where are they going? Then it dawned on us that, today, the first witnesses are supposed to be coming from the military. Then before the case was called, you could see that one side of the courtroom, green all over. Then we were wondering, where is CDS? CDS, and no, the secretary is not too known to some of us, so we're wondering why. Oh, they are here in advance to prepare the grounds, and before, then somebody whispers, the secretary to the CDS, and then the military is here. Oh, okay. Then the case was called, and we noticed that Air Commodore Nana Edujemfi, who is the military secretary, and was in court. Is one of the people who were subpoenaed. Subpoenaed means that initially, they wouldn't want to come and testify, but the court has invited them, so they have to come and assist the court. Yes. So in this case, it's coming as a witness for Mr. Richard Jakpa, who is the third accused person. And when you are calling witnesses, you expect the witness to come and say things that will help your case, that will support your case. And the reason they were bringing the man from the military is that you notice that during the cross-examination, prosecution or state prosecutors confronted him with some documents, some letters that show that he was sacked from the military because of insubordination and some unprofessional behaviors and of a sort. He and his lawyers disagree. If you look at the military regulations, if you are sacked, there are various conditions under which you are sacked. They make the point that if you look at the condition or the regulation in which Mr. Jakpa was sacked, they mentioned Regulation 2A and its provisions. It didn't mention subordination and all that stuff as was put to Mr. Jakpa. So the reason to bring the military is to come and confirm that under this section under which Mr. Jakpa was dealt with, this and this and what is happening. But of course, when he came, in fact, he was subject taken through the normal evidence in chief, and that was when you could see clearly that at this particular point in time, the witness was rather hostile to the person who invited him.
Wow.
Absolutely. So at the point in time, you might think that it was Mr. Jakpa who is rather having a cross-examination of the witness. Then the Attorney General was supposed to have a cross-examination with the witness, was rather having a flow, because the officer brought him two letters showing that, one showing the conduct of Mr. Jakpa, and as you can see on your screen, that is the military, how this is the time that the court sitting was over, and then they were about to leave the premises of the court. So these are some of the scenes at the court yesterday. So he turned in those two letters, in effect, to show that Mr. Jakpa was not released honorably by the military. So because of some indiscipline, some unprofessionalism and all that style of behavior and all that. So yesterday, the witness was discharged. He was supposed to come with the chief of defense staff. But yesterday, the court was informed that he didn't get a hearing notice on time. He only got it yesterday morning, and so it was difficult for him to be in court. So after he was discharged, Justice Efia Asaribuchi, he came out with a case completion plan, and the plan is to give an idea or timelines within which this whole case to conclude. And you notice that one person who has been mentioned by way of those who have been subpoenaed to come to court is Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament, Alban Babin. Yes. Interesting. So Alban Babin is supposed to come to court and so that. So yesterday, the court drew a plan, and per the plan, on 22nd of July, today is the 19th, so Tuesday, we'll have two witnesses to come. 25th July, we'll have two witnesses to come. And then 30th July will be the last sitting for this legal year. Then the court will go on vacation. The legal vacation. Absolutely. Then, first week of October, when the new legal year begins, then Honorable Honorable Speaker of Parliament, Alban Babin, will be in court.
Will be in court.
Yeah, so he'll be in court on the 8th of October. Yes. Right. So that is the timeline given. And the court made some projection by way of the end to this case. It said that by the 31st of October, by evidence, everything should conclude. And the parties, by me or the lawyers, should file their written submissions simultaneously in 3 weeks after the whole evidence is ended. Mr. Jakpa is done with his witnesses.
Wow.
Then, November 15, tentatively, Justice Efiase Sariboche is saying that all things being equal, that will be the D-Day in this whole matter. Wow. So that is the date that has been projected, or that has been tentatively fixed for the ambulance case at the state. So yesterday, the military was in court. We expect him to be in court on the CDS, especially, to also be in court on 25th of July. So in terms of the ambulance issues, these are some of the things that...
Interesting. And I'm sure that most of us will also be waiting for the 15th November. I mean, barring all circumstances,
Absolutely.
I mean, any eventuality, we'll finally have a determination of this one.
So
but it will be interesting when we see Alban Bragman also having to testify in this particular
many
case.
are asking, why is the Speaker of Parliament coming to court in relation to this matter? So for those who remember, at some point in time, he was a Minister for Health. And that was sometime in 2013. And that was when the ambulance issue started and all that. So that is why Mr. Jakpa thinks that the Speaker has some information that will assist his case. And for that matter, he should come to court and let the court hear him. So that is why...
The leader of the legislature would be in the judiciary.
Yeah, in the judiciary. So that will be very interesting one to see. The kind of testimony that the Speaker will come up with. It will be very interesting.
Very, very interesting. I'll be looking forward to that in October. But let's come to another scenario involving the judiciary and the legislature. I mean, talking about Collins Dauda, the Saglemi housing case. How is that also panning out?
For us, for the judiciary, they are there. Whoever the Attorney General brings to them is whoever they will, absolutely. So they will tell you that the law is no respecter of persons. So the man in white, Alhaji Collins Dauda, that is how he always appears. I'm not saying that he's always wearing one shirt, but different fabric and all that. But the point is that the last time I was talking to me about the fact that why is he always in white? He said, I love white.
Right.
Yes, and angels attract white. But that's not to say that's the reason that but for him, he loved white. So yesterday he was in court. His lawyer subjected the second prosecution witness to further cross-examination before Justice Ernest Owusu-Dapa, and the case has been adjourned to next year. When I say next year, the next legal year, I'm not saying 2025. No, in the judiciary, next year is the next legal year.
That's October onwards.
So the next legal year for 2024-2025 will start in October, because after this month, they have 2 months break. But it's not all of them. For the lower court, circuit and district court, they are sitting.
They're sitting.
Yes.
Okay.
And then the high court, to the CJ, will designate some of the courts to remain, just so anything that will happen in between the period, they can deal with it.
So for those who are thinking, I can commit crime because the judiciary is on break, your ears go chop.
One of the things that we have also been learning is that crime has no expiring date. So whatever you do will be there waiting for you. And so that is what will happen in relation to this one. So October, Justice Ernest Owusu-Dapa is saying that when they resume from the next legal year, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, in October, November, December, full.
Wow.
1:30 to 3:30, 2 hours. Kusu, this case will be on.
So that's like
3
6
times.
hours.
Yes, 6 hours
every week.
Every week.
Wow.
That's what Justice Ernest Owusu-Dapa has also said in relation to this one. So this case has also been adjourned to October 8th.
Right.
Yes.
So let's look at the NDC. And then the alleged leak tape, I mean, it's traveled in court.
Yes. So
Samuel Fosuampofo and all of that.
So the two on your screen now, yes, they are still in court. And yesterday, what Justice Samuel Esiedu, a justice of the Supreme Court, was expecting to do was for Samuel Fosuampofo to open his defense and respond to the charges that have been leveled against him. Prosecution called 3 witnesses, and the court held that the prima facie evidence had been established, for which reason the two are supposed to open their defense. For some time now, it's going to be the adjourn. One of the reasons is that Samuel Fosuampofo had surgery outside. And when he even came back, he had some post-surgery complications and all that. So at the last court sitting, the evidence that was shown to the court shows that he had a very serious issue with the leg. The court adjourned again. There was no show. And yesterday also, the court did not sit. So eventually this case has been adjourned to the very last day of October, also in the new legal year. So a lot of the cases from now, when they adjourn it, then you should be seeing next year
after
in the legal setting.
Interesting.
Absolutely. So yesterday, Justice Samuel Esiedu, a justice of the Supreme Court, did not sit in relation to this very case. So it has been adjourned to October 31. Yes.
And in line with government's digitization agenda,
yes,
a lot is happening in the courts too.
Yes, so
talking about softwares and,
absolutely,
and how we are going to implement them and what they will do for the judiciary.
Yes, so you notice one issue that has always been very topical in this country is legal education, and the General Legal Council is always improving things to ensure that they get the best. Sometimes when examination, they tell you there's a leak examination papers, the integrity of the exams is being compromised and all that. They want to avoid some of these things, so they want to improve on things. So they are coming out with a software, registration, exam, everything that you have to do within legal education, you have to follow through, you have to go through the software, and it becomes very easy. It's very combative. It said nobody can even compromise with it and all that. So that is, it brought together virtually everybody that you would think within the legal settings. Judges, deans of faculties, and absolutely director of legal education in Ghana, virtually everybody. So let's go and watch this short report on what this software is all about.
The new software includes a website and examination portal, and it centralizes all activities relating to examinations conducted by the Independent Examination Committee. It is also meant to enhance the effective management and administration of examinations by the IEC. The Chief Justice said the new software will be key in promoting standards and integrity of legal education.
In our world today, where technology is transforming the fabric of our lives, digitalization is not just a trend, it's a fundamental shift in how we interact, how we work, and how we manage virtually every activity. With digitalization, we are able to unlock unprecedented efficiencies and productivity and innovation. And we are able to access vast amounts of information and connect with global communities and automate tedious tasks.
The chairperson of the IEC, Justice Professor Henrietta Mensah, a justice of the Supreme Court, said the new software was part of reforms to improve the committee's operations.
The IEC has had to undertake a number of reforms to modernize its systems and streamline its processes. It has strengthened its administrative systems, enhanced its oversight of tasks, outsourced to external operatives, pruned its list of experts, tightened its integrity frameworks, and deepened its relations with those on whom it depends to execute specialized tasks.
The director of the Ghana School of Law and Legal Education, Barima Yao Kodjo, said the new software will ensure transparency and integrity in the examination process.
And to conclude, the public should continue to see our systems as very robust, but also very foolproof. It has highly rated integrity, and with this, then the journey is almost ended. So be bold, register for the exam if you are eligible, and have the assurance that if you legitimately pass, nobody, no system can say you have failed.
The Dean of the University of Ghana Law School, Professor Raymond Atuguba, urged the operators to continuously implement stringent measures to prevent the system from manipulation and hacking.
Data manipulation. The software engineering that developed the software is the same engineering that can manipulate it. I believe.
All right, so that's it.
Yes, so
for those who want to be lawyers like you and all of that, now you're going to use software.
It is well. So everybody everybody should try. All law students, when you want to get, whether you want to Now you are venturing into Mokola, or they are in Mokola, whatever you want to do in relation to legal education. This is the software that you have to go through. So a lot of orientation will have to go in there.
Right.
It was very interesting thing because the kind of people that it brought together, it's amazing.
You know, it's amazing how you see these people and you get excited. Some of us see them and we're like, okay, yeah, let's go. but let's look at what is coming up in court.
Yes.
I mean, Mike Nineku.
Yes.
It looks like
Today,
those woes, it will never end. Or there will be an end in sight.
There will be an end.
There will be, okay.
So 1,000-mile journey begins with a step.
Yeah, but
so
the steps,
the
step,
something
it's
like
not going
even
too fast
like
for him.
the tortoise or the snail.
Yeah.
Definitely you get to the destination.
Right.
Some people go with private cars, some people go with Okada, some people go with bicycles, some people also trek on foot, you know.
You understand the
You just have
Lexus
to-
people. Yeah.
Absolutely, you see.
But in court, his case is still coming up.
Yes, so the case of 61 witnesses. So today, Justice Efiasa Butche will be expecting the 21st and 22nd witnesses to come and testify. On today is Friday. Wednesday, the 20th witness was in, gave a short testimony, cross-examined, and was discharged. Today, the 21st or 20th and 21st and 22nd will be in court because their testimonies, as per the witness statement that they have filed, is not too long, so the court can accommodate. And this case starts from 12 to 3. So
3
3
solid
hours,
hours.
absolutely. So enough time to be able to do all this. And so that is what will happen. Of course, some of the few things that we also channel. On today is Friday, not so much will be happening, but this case is one of the issues that or the cases that we should look forward to.
Mutala, thank you. Thank you so much.
Have a
Absolute pleasure having you talk about
You're a
court
big man,
matters.
yeah.
Not in education, not in any form of training. So the question is, what are they doing? And the alarming part of it is that we have about 1.2 million of those numbers being females. How do?
Let me say good morning to our cherished viewers. It's actually, I'm surprised to see such a report. I was asking, as you said, if 1.2 million females are not in school, they are not in training, they are not employed, then what are they doing? Normally, if people are, you expect that people between ages of 15 and 35
yes.
should either be in school or should be doing something, doing some training. We are not told, frankly, I have not seen the report. We are not told the level of education of these people, whether they are from the junior high schools, because the report hasn't told us whether they've not been to school at all. So I need to know whether they have completed GSS and not proceeded to SS level, and what are the reasons, the factors, whether those around 35 years have completed SS and they are not in labor employment or they are not doing any training. I have not seen such a breakdown.
Right.
So it is quite scary. But if you look at the statistics, it's also saying that about 500,000 in fact, it has improved by about 500,000. It means that in 2022, the number was higher
than the 2
than
million.
2023.
Yeah.
So the figure has declined by almost 500,000. It means that either these people are involved in training, they are in school, they are back to school, or they are doing something. So the figure has actually declined, even though the current figure is still alarming.
But is that reflective of what we have seen in terms of what government says it is doing in terms of job creation and providing access?
That is my problem, because considering the fact that if you finish junior high school, at age 15, you should either be in. So I know people who are 15, they are in JSS. Why are they not in JSS? I know people are in 15 years, they are in SS.
Yeah.
Why are they not in SS? These are the questions you'll be asking, because considering the fact that a lot of these people are beyond this, and the free senior high school, FQ, the basic school, people are in junior high school, you expect that at age 15, at least many of these people would have left basic school.
Yeah.
And then
Entered high school.
Why are they not in high school, even with a free senior high school? I don't understand. If you look at the figures, they are more in Greater Accra, even the southern sector, than the north.
Yeah.
The northern sector is relatively lower than the southern sector. It also goes to confirm the report that the free senior high school have benefited more people in the north than the south. This goes to reveal that. And why will Greater Accra, in fact, Greater Accra leads the park with the highest number, and then Western North, and the southern part. What are the factors? What are the issues? These are the things that we have to look at. Because it's surprising that if somebody between that bracket group, and the person is not in school, is not employed, is not. I don't expect people around 15 to be employed anyway.
Of course.
I expect them to be in school.
Exactly.
So why are they not in school? Even with the free senior high school. And it's surprising. I don't know. Because I've not seen the full report, I have looked. Yesterday I was engaged, so I couldn't get to the GSS website to look at the full report and look at the factors, causative factors that are leading to this. It is surprising, but something needs to be done about it. As a country, we cannot continue to. You see, the fact of the matter is, even those who are completing SS, if they are not going into the tertiary institutions, they should be out there doing something.
Exactly.
Why are they not? And particularly surprising because of this TVET and the rest. Look, it is also free. So I don't just understand. Maybe we may have to have Ghana, the government statistician, telling us why why these factors are okay. But it's so. The good news is that there's been some decline, as I said, by 500,000 just in a year. What are the policies being in place to absorb these people? Because we must be looking. The figures. Greater Accra is about. I've looked at the figures, but I've forgotten the absolute figures. Greater Accra is leading, and everybody moves to Accra anyway.
Yeah.
Everybody moves to Accra for the lure of the city, as sociologists
So
will
Ghana
call
is
it.
in Accra.
Yes, the lure of the city. Everybody thinks that everything good is in Accra, and they all pile up in Accra, and sometimes they get nothing doing. They don't get any work to do. We need to look at that. How are we looking at rural-urban migration, the things that are causing it? But I think that now Ghana has opened up so much that we should not have that much.
Has it?
We should not have that much.
Has Ghana opened up that much?
Yes, Ghana. Look, when I don't want to. When I was growing up, I went to school in the North Upper West region. Through 5 years of my secondary education, I used lantern to study. Lantern. We only got, for those who are watching, I went to Canton Secondary School then, now Canton Senior High School. We only got electricity on Saturdays. We had an old generator that was put on only on Saturdays for entertainment. That was what we had. It was after around early 90s, late 1980s and early 90s that the national grid began to move. So now we have electricity across the country. And people are doing so many things for themselves using the electricity, creating jobs for themselves. And I think as Ghanaians, we should not all depend on government to do everything. Government needs to facilitate production, needs to let industries grow. Government needs to do all that to absorb more of these people. Government needs to do that. But if you are an individual, you are out of school. Some of these people, if you are not in school at all, you should be getting something to do. I have given myself as an example, and I don't, hesitate repeating it. Sometimes Ghanaians will all look for things that are not dirty. When I say things that are not white-collar jobs, we want government employment. I say this without any fear of contradiction or any shame. That when I completed sixth form, I had a job to do somewhere. I left the job after 2 weeks because it was not good for me. you know what I did? I sold charcoal in Accra here because somebody supported me. I sold charcoal in Accra to survive. How do you call it? Mamprobi. They call me Naiche in Mamprobi. I will move to Zongo, Sabo Zongo. Megawe. Megawe means Bideura. So I did that to survive. We need to cultivate the culture of doing something for ourselves in this country. If you do that, I tell you these numbers will reduce. Even though I may be, at that time, if I were asked that, are you employed? I may say, no, I am not employed because I am not in any private or government employment, but I was doing something to survive. We want to know how many of these people are actually doing something to survive. If they are not doing anything at all to survive, then that is very scary. I know some of them, even though they have these numbers, some of them, like me, they may be doing something to survive. What are the figures?
What are the figures?
What are the figures to show that at least they are living above board? They are doing something to survive. We look at all these things, but if you lump the figure together, say they are not doing anything at all, we may not be getting the right picture.
Okay.
Some of these people may be doing something to survive, and they may even be doing well than most people in the media. Because I hear they say they are not doing anything at all. But that would be so shocking.
Okay.
That after 35 years or 35 years, you are not doing anything at all to survive. That would be shocking.
And I'm sure that people would also argue that, well, we have this situation where I've gone to school to study engineering.
Yes.
What I need to do is to use my engineering skills. So if I'm not getting the opportunity to use my engineering skills, am I not unemployed then?
See, that is a problem. Sometimes it's not what you learn at school that you use to survive. You know that?
Yeah.
It is not the course that you do at school that you use to survive. I did an MA program in migration. I'm not in the field of migration. Look, I know a lot about migration, but I'm not using that. I am in journalism. That's what I do to survive. People go to do engineering. They don't. I know electrical engineers, mechanical engineers who are not doing mechanical engineering. They are doing something else. You have medical doctors who are not practicing.
And I have a science student who is sitting in the studio now.
Exactly. You see, we have. I have a science background too. I did actually did science up to A level. I did physics, chemistry, biology. But I will end up doing sociology at the university. So it is not what you do or the course you do that you always use to survive.
Okay.
Some people do history and they become bankers. People do.
And lawyer, did you always want to be a lawyer, or you did science and ended up in law?
You see, the man didn't end up being an engineer. He didn't end up being a pharmacist. He ended up being a lawyer.
But as a lawyer, looking at these figures, how does that come to you?
I'm not surprised. I'm surprised that I would be surprised. These NET figures have been around. We've discussed these things many times. The truth of the matter is that there are no jobs, and government needs to make more effort. You know, we have not been honest with ourselves. Just about a couple of months ago, maybe 3 months ago, Dr. Bawumia proudly indicated that the NPP government has created 2.1 million jobs in the last 4 years. The truth is that these figures we bandy about, for political purposes, may be good, but it is conscienceless to, in the midst of such life difficulties and unemployment that is so apparent, to, still pride ourselves with these kinds of achievements when we know they are not there. Now, you see, for a long time, we've had unemployment problems. And even the attendant associated problems are worse. Audu was talking about what the people who are not working are doing, and whether they're doing something for themselves. The fear is that some of these people are the people who come to your house in the middle of the night to come and ask you to surrender or die. And when you ask them what they do during the day, of course they will say they are unemployed. Some of these people are drug addicts sitting around. In fact, the recent more dangerous phenomenon is among the females, you know, and it is not good. There are people who openly advertise on Facebook and on social media. Yes, on social media, literally soliciting. And so we have a problem. And we cannot pretend. Some of these people are graduates. And truth of the matter is that they don't have a job. Those who you are even talking about, we're here talking about those who are not employed. How about those who are underemployed? It's a huge problem. There are graduates who are working jobs that are paying so low, you wonder how they go to work and come back home every day. And so if only we will be a little honest with ourselves and know that unemployment is a problem that needs to be resolved and start taking practical steps to resolve them, we will be getting somewhere. You know, there are nurses, for instance, who are trained nurses, who the Ministry of Health hasn't given clearance for them to be employed. There are thousands of them still sitting at home.
Yeah.
They've graduated nursing school, some of them 3 years, 4 years, sitting at home. There are medical doctors who have graduated medical school many years now who have not found jobs. So there are practical problems that have to be resolved. And my worry is that we are not honest about it. If we will admit it, we will start taking steps towards resolving the problems. But when we pride ourselves in creating jobs that cannot be found, then because you say the problem is not there, how are you even going to try and solve it? Because if you have created 1.2 million jobs in the last 4 years, what is the actual number of youth in Ghana? I'm not worried about 15 to 19 or 20 who are not working. The working class, those who qualify to work, you know, who were not working hitherto 4 years ago, how many are they? And if you have absorbed 2.1 million out of them, we won't be talking about these figures. I am not talking about the MPP alone. The figures have been there. But I'm saying that successive governments must admit that unemployment is a problem and must work towards resolving it. We must have policies. And as parties now churn out manifestos, the youth must start questioning what are the practical steps you intend to take to bring down youth unemployment. Look, Audu was talking about the fact that a lot of the numbers are in Accra. Of course, a lot of the numbers are in Accra, and he credited free SHS to why the Norths are not having the higher numbers, and that's not true. The truth is that a lot of the unemployed in the North or in those other places move to Accra to hustle. And so you find them here. It is not because...
So it's not because those in that age group might find themselves in school as a
himself has
result
indicated
of the
that
free senior high school policy.
No, Audu himself has indicated that he schooled in the North.
What have I said that you say is not true?
No, I am saying that, well, maybe not true is not the word, but it's not the
what
case.
What I said is factual. The records is there that the people in the
you're
northern
saying,
sector are benefiting more from the free senior high school than the southern sector.
You see,
the records are there.
It is free senior high school is not solving unemployment. That's the point I'm making to you. Free senior high school is not solving unemployment.
Okay,
the fact that
let me leave it to.
The truth of the matter is that you have more of these people down south and in Accra, because a lot of them will move out of there and feeling that there is something in Accra, come here. A lot of them come and become stranded. And you have no idea what people are doing to survive. And that is why you also compare crime rates down here, it is higher. You compare a lot of the other things I have indicated, they are higher here. And they are higher because if you really want to find the origins of the people who are unemployed in Accra, a lot of them will tell you they didn't school here. They don't come from here. They have come here because there are no jobs where they are, and they have come here to try and hustle. But yes, there are a lot other people over there in, for instance, my hometown in Achimerisa, who would at least get a farm to weed. Here, there's no land to go and weed. So you'll be completely unemployed. If you were in Achimerisa, you probably would say, oh, I farm. You know, so these are the dynamics.
Right.
But the bottom line is that unemployment is a huge problem. And it's not a huge problem only because people are struggling to live. It's a huge problem because those who don't have jobs try to survive by fair and foul means. And that is dangerous. It's dangerous for any country. And it is even worse when you realize that your biggest natural resource is your human resource. And your biggest part of that human resource is the people from the 15 to the 35 you're talking about. They are the able-bodied men who could work and move an economy forward. The chunk of them not finding jobs.
And the argument is that from 15, for instance, between 15 and 18, these people are supposed to be in school and not necessarily working. And that's where the argument of free SHS comes in, that those in the north are actually going to school. But down south, we are seeing people opting out of school, even when they are supposed to be in school. And now access has been improved.
You see, again, you need money to access free SHS. Don't kid yourself about it. There are people who are day students in my village. When they bring their prospectus to me, I pay money. Sometimes I have paid for a 15-year-old 2,000 cedis day student to be able to foot the prospectus. You will have to feed. I'm telling you, last year.
Okay.
You know, and the sad part is, well, let me leave it. The sad part is that the girl didn't even finish school. She got pregnant along the way. You know, now, the point is that you need resources to go to school. We can pretend all we want that schooling is free. It is not. All right? And you're talking even about SHS. That's up to 17 years. After that 17 years, after the SHS, where do you go? The SHS does not equip you enough to do anything for yourself. So if you leave SHS, and there is a danger there. Before, a lot of the people who didn't enter SS at all will go and learn a trade. You don't pass BEC, they say go and learn carpentry, go and learn something. So hairdressing, they take you somewhere. Now, those who finish SS and are not able to progress, they feel they are educated somehow. Me, my SS, I'm not going to go and learn hairdressing.
Learn a trade.
So there is all kinds of dangers. And you see, these are issues we must confront head on and address. And the thinking that, look, if you see the little kids, some of them 9 years, 8 years, you drive by the roadside. They are walking around, begging for money. You don't see them all the time. They're begging because their parents have to feed. The young girls selling ice water and other things by the roadside and the markets, they are the breadwinners of their families. And they would rather go and hustle and feed the family than be in school. So there are
it's a matter of survival.
I'm telling you, there are practical problems that have to be addressed. And we need to debate policy, how we will resolve unemployment. And just throwing free SHS at every problem is awful. We will have to, these problems are there, and free SHS hasn't taken a whimper away from the problems, especially when you talk about unemployment. Access might be there. But if you wake up in the morning and you have to go and sell ice water for your family to feed, you are not going to school. When you have to go to school, no matter how free it is, even if it's with a meal and that's no more, you will still need to get something small for transport. And even if you're going to trek, you will buy water. So you can't go to school if you don't have support.
Right. So for you, the statistics are not shocking at all?
No, these problems have been there. And we don't have to, sidestep them and pretend they don't exist.
Right.
We need to start serious debate and discussions on how these problems will be solved. And the propaganda must stop.
Right. Ibrahim,
well,
I know you are ready to go guns blazing. I mean, but we've seen this particular report, and I've seen the conversation on social media where people are talking about the fact that, well, the numbers are even little.
Yeah.
With what the Ghana Statistical Service is telling us cannot be a true reflection of the problem, because everybody keeps talking about being unemployed and all of that.
You're right. And I understand why people will want to question the figures, because unemployment has now become very tangible. We live with it. And a typical example is I completed university in 2011. Some of my mates are still at home.
Wow.
13 years
13
later.
years on.
Yes. do something small here, get some do something small, but there is no job security. And I'm sure all of us will bear testimony to the fact that the number of people who have been making demands of us financially is through the roof. If you are employed and at least every month you see something, it will help you protect your dignity. Because one of the most undignified things for anybody is to come to somebody and ask for something to go and feed.
Yeah.
Now, the other alarming aspect, and that is why I think this ought to be addressed immediately, is the female population.
1.2 million of them.
You know what they are doing? They are doing hookup. They are doing hookup.
Oh, you found the courage to say the word. I tried.
Yeah. That's what they are doing.
Right.
Well, not all of them, though.
Oh, yes, of course. Not all of them. Not all of them. Because, of course, 15. Others are hawking. They are selling things on their head to feed the family. Now, I agree that at least with the advent of free SHS, one of the three indicators ought to have been ticked, and that is be in school at least.
Yeah.
Be in school at least, especially from 15 going. But you know why they are not in school? Aside the fact that it's not completely free, and regardless of how you implement free SHS, it will not be completely free because you have to pay something, either as a guardian or as a parent. You have to pay something. Because government obviously will not pay the transportation from the house to the school, right? There are certain necessities, especially for the female peoples who we talk about, pads and what have you. Those things are all expenses that will come naturally.
But even if you don't go to school, you still have to buy pads.
But then there's a way you go about it when you are home. Why do you think the kids don't go to write exams? We've had this conversation before where the girls do not go to school, not because the flow will not come, but because they manage it better at home. There will not be embarrassment. There will not be disgrace at home.
Yeah.
They don't step out. That's the point. So
the period shame.
Yes, that's the point. So it's not about whether you go to school or whether you stay at home. It will still come anyway. But you will better manage it at home and protect your shame than be outside.
And if we're selling water, you get money to buy it. Then.
Exactly. You get the point. So it's not something worth trivializing. Now, and then I'm sure that's why government had taken an initiative to say that at least those are produced locally. Let's take off the taxes. Unfortunately, it is the producers that are benefiting. It has not reflected in the reduction of the prices of these sanitary products on the market. This is even a broken record. We had a whole conversation about this. That indeed, the government said no taxes, but the guys are not reducing it. What's government doing about it?
Because production cost is high for them.
That's the argument. That's the counter-argument. So there must be something deliberate, much more deliberate about it. Even if it's about distributing it free to the less privileged girls, why not? Aside that, see, we're operating on the assumption that immediately we say free SHS, people will be enticed by education. No. You need to create awareness. See, there are people, even if you give them money that go to school, they won't go. You get it? Because they've not internalized the essence of education. Why do you think that we had a whole campaign for Get Child Education? We had a whole campaign, a whole drive to encourage parents to send their children to school, especially children who are girls.
Yeah.
I think that's what we have not paid attention to. That aside free SHS, let's ensure that if it's FQ that we are implementing, then you'll be arrested if your child is supposed to be in school and your child is not in school. Are we exploring that? Are we exploring the awareness creation that, hey, free SHS is here. Please send your children to school because an educated, unemployed child or Ghanaian is way better than an unemployed, uneducated Ghanaian. Even if you truncate at senior high school, you are way better off than the one who truncated at, say, a primary level.
So for you, the essence of education has not really sunk in.
We've not paid attention to it.
And that's why we are seeing the numbers. I mean, 15 onwards, they're finding themselves.
The other one is poverty.
Right.
See, if I can do something now and get something to assist my family as a 15-year-old, that's why I say when they say the employment age starts from 15, there's a reason. Because 14-year-olds are working and they are breadwinners. As terrible as this sounds, That's the reality. 15-year-olds, as I say, at least 15 years you can work, but there are some categories of jobs you can do.
Yeah.
You can be an apprentice. So you have 15-year-old who's learning mechanics. Yes. You have 15-year-old who is learning carpentry. You have 15-year-old who is a trotro mate, and I'm sure many of us might have encountered some of them. They should be in school, and they ought to be in school. But their realities will not allow them. The other one is the fact that Accra is leading. Yes, Accra will obviously lead. Everybody will come to Accra. That's one. When they come to Accra, it's not just the elderly who come to Accra. They are giving birth. Go to the areas where these people sleep rough. Men, women sleep under interchanges, sleep in some shackles and what have you, sleep in some containers, and go and look at the birth rate there. If you do that, you understand why Accra is leading. Accra will continue to lead. Because everybody is coming to Accra. Everybody in Accra, many of them have accommodation challenges, right? If you sleep rough, chances are you'll be doing menial jobs. Because why would you sleep on the street and wake up, go and shower, and say you are going to do an office job? That's practically impossible. So as the KIA, as the head porters, it is those who then become more or less loading boys. Loading boys,
the track pushers.
The track pushers and what have you. Those are the people outside there. And those are the people who clearly fit into this bracket. You ask them, they tell you that I'm not working. What do you do for a living? They tell you I'm a businessman, I'm a connection man, I'm this, I'm that. I've had the opportunity to engage some flag bearers. And when our input was sought as to how the problems of the country will be addressed, job creation was number one that I mentioned. Get a lid on that problem, and half of the problem of Ghana is resolved. I agree with Nana Kwesi that many of these young people are those that will record themselves and tell you that we are out there. If you pass here, we'll rob you. As ordained, the gentlemen who recorded themselves, and the police had to go for them
and arrest them.
These are the people that we are actually hoping to leave the country into their hands tomorrow. That's the future generation, the future leaders. If we do not get a lid on this problem, many of them will tell us that military regime is better than a democracy. Overwhelming number of African youth are saying that they want military rule to democracy.
They have not experienced it.
That's the point. No, that's the point.
That's the argument.
They have not experienced it.
That's the point.
If you have lived
they have not lived it.
regime.
No, I get you.
Yeah.
But they are fantasizing with that.
Okay.
And because they think that those regimes came with discipline. They think that under those regimes. That's the point.
You know, there are people who even currently believe that colonialism was better than independence. If you do a survey, how many people will tell you that?
Exactly.
Nana, Esquire. I think he has some fixation about Bawumia.
Oh.
Yes. When I started, I do. Everything. I'm on this. I've been on this program with him.
Yeah.
Look,
why?
When I started this conversation, I didn't want to go political because if you do that, you'll be missing the point. You will not get the actual issues that are involved. Look, I'm not sure Vice President Bawumia said 2.2 million jobs were created in 4 years.
Well, he
didn't
that.
say 4 years.
He said that.
Is it 7 years or 4 years?
No, he said 4 years.
Oh, I'm not sure about that.
Well,
besides that, you said
I can look for it for you.
Look for it. Look for it.
I can look for it for you.
You also said that these are fanciful things that he have made that do not exist. Look, sometimes we need to look at these comments. When he spoke about these 2 million people being employed, he gave figures, statistics, the areas that these jobs have been created.
So
if you think that
you actually believe that
let me come.
1 million jobs.
So
have been
if they were
created.
not created, where would we have been at this point? That is the point. If they were not created, let's look at, let's look at the personality.
You just want to defend the matter.
Will you allow me to have my take?
Right.
Well, I mean, he's reacting
Because,
to me.
Yeah. So when I finish, you have your take.
Bite.
When I finish, you have your take. He gave statistics, various sectors of the public sector, the private sector, and all that, and even quoted who are on Social Security and National Insurance Trust Scheme. If you are not employed, there are people who are self-employed and they are contributing. And there are also people who are employed. So the figures are there to be verified. I am not sure you have then that this figure he has given about people in the private sector are not correct. These figures he has given about people employed in the public sector are not correct. That's what we should be looking at. And looking at education. When we started, this whole program is about need, not in education, not in employment, and not in training at all. Yeah. And I said that northern sector is probably lower because of free senior high school. And I said that this is clear. If you look at the statistics,
in how many years?
More people have benefited from free senior high school in the northern sector than here. Look, people have spoken about...
just clearing the facts, because you said I should look out for you.
Okay, 4 years, yes.
It says that from 2.1 million jobs between 2017 and 2022. That's how many years?
That's not 4 years.
Well, that's what, 5?
We will take that
between.
5 years.
Between. That's 6 years.
No.
About 6 years.
Between
6 years.
No, it's not 6 years.
Okay, more than 5 years.
Between cannot include it. And this statement was in February of 2024.
You want to mark English language here?
No. and if you look at all the stories, he said we need in 4 years. That is what all the stories say.
No, don't worry. The data, even if it is 4 years. My point is, look at the figures that he has given and say that, look, he has given figures, people that have employed in the private sector and those in the public sector. Let's look at those figures. Let's scrutinize the figures. And I was talking about free senior high school, the reason why the northern sector may not have the huge figures. And I'm saying that it's because of the free senior high school, because the data shows that people in the northern sector are benefiting more. They are embracing more
than the south.
Why have they done that? Probably because of the poverty level there. I'm from the north. When people talk about introducing free senior high school in the northern sector, why? Who said those days were not paying fees? I was paying. Everybody who went to my time, everybody who went to secondary school were paying fees. We were paying some. It was subsidized. It's not completely free. Anybody who say that I am lying should probably call it to the station that we're not paying something. We're paying something. And mind you, by that time, the government was supposed to pay our bursaries. Anytime our bursaries, government did not pay our bursaries, we stayed at home. And the southern aspect, because they were paying fees, they were in school, and we were at home. And there was that discrepancy that you are doing the same thing, courses in school, you being at home, and your colleagues in the southern sector will be in school because ours was supposed to be free. And government was not getting money to get us to school. And that was happening. Have you heard since 2007 that people in the northern sector stayed at home and those in the southern sector in school? Have you heard that? Nothing at all. Something has worked. Because you no longer have people, the bursary being paid, people paying school fees in the southern sector and the northern sector because it's free. Government is also providing funding resources, and we stay at home. It doesn't happen anymore. So people in the northern sector are benefiting.
Even though it's free senior high school, there is still an element of cost, like you have admitted.
I have.
And that is also a barrier to people getting into the schools.
Why? But why is it that the people in the northern sector, the place that is supposed to be poor, are grabbing the free senior high school than those in the southern sector?
Could it also be that they don't
Which will be asking yourself,
they don't see the opportunities that the people are seeing in the south?
Why?
And in the mining communities, for instance?
You see, that is a problem. That is why I'm saying that somebody in the mining community, by the way, Accra, there's no mining in Accra. There are so many. You can have Okada happening in Accra.
Right.
You have Kayaye happening in Accra and all that. So what are even the parents doing about it? People may say that parents are poor and all that. Look, I don't want to give my example continuously. It's becoming too much about myself. Look, what are parents? What is the role of parents in this matter? What's the role of parents? If Ivy was talking about free senior high school, if 2008 the issue of free senior high school became a topical issue up to now, and people still do not hear about free senior high school in the southern sector, they don't see the need to go to school to take opportunities of free senior high school, then we are in serious problem.
Okay.
But you see, before free SHS, this statistic was not different. It's not that before free SHS.
You see,
let me finish, please.
The problem we are churning out people from the free senior. The numbers are increasing.
Let me finish.
The numbers from senior free senior high school are increasing.
Let me finish.
Okay, let me come in.
The point I am making.
Let him make his point.
The point I am making is that when we have a problem, and it's a problem that has been there. It is not true that a long time ago, the North might have, and I'm talking about when I say let's say the last 30 years under this democracy. If you checked the NEET numbers, it's always been higher in Accra. It's rural urban migration.
Look at poverty numbers.
It is not because free SHS came and now people are going to school in the north. That is why the numbers are lower in the north.
Yeah.
It is the case that is always being the case. The numbers are lower in the north because those who don't have jobs there don't stay there. They move to Accra and they come and become stranded. But I'm saying that, you see, this is not a question of having something against Bawumia. I am just saying that leadership must admit that there is a problem. And we must discuss that problem and find a solution.
The leadership has not admitted that we have a
problem. Who said that? Who said leadership has not admitted? The two major parties have agreed that there's a problem. That's why they are offering solutions.
How do?
Right.
No, you are the one person who doesn't like to be heckled. You can cry when you are heckled. But the point is that when government, and it's Dr. Bawumia that made the statement. It's not that I have something against him. He made the statement. And I'm saying that when we try to say that we have created so many jobs, 2.1 million is a lot. And you say, he's giving SNIT numbers and this. I'm telling you.
This just says, you see that
we don't
continuously misquote me.
It is not true.
I am saying that the man has given statistics, the private sector, the public sector.
I am
question those figures.
Okay.
Why are you misquoting me?
I am telling you that those figures cannot be accurate in the face of the statistics that we have. That's just the point I'm making. Those figures he gave cannot be accurate in the face of the statistics that we have.
Right.
Let me ask you a question. How many people are churned out from the university every year? How many people are churned out even from senior high school every year? How many people are churned out even from basic school every year? Don't we see increasing numbers? And therefore, if you don't get employment commensurate with the people being churned out of school, we'll get this problem. Don't you see that?
Right.
Don't you see that over the year, people are, the numbers are increasing?
Ibrahim, finally,
you can't
understand
every day, don't people die.
And then the
don't people die.
Right, Ibrahim.
There are vacancies to be filled on it.
Well, see, the National Security Minister is on record to have said that unemployment is a national security threat.
Yeah.
Right. And that means that it's nothing to be toyed with. Now, we are aware that even those who are working are struggling to make ends meet. Just imagine for a moment those who are not working. Just imagine for a moment those who are not working, right? You go to school. Your parents are supposed to assist you as much as they can. Now you complete school, and the reverse is supposed to be the reality. It's now your responsibility to take care of the parent. Joshua, you have no idea how many young men will have to endure insult before they pick their bowl of food to go and eat at home because they have overstayed their welcome. Elsewhere, when you are 18, you are living. It's your parents that will beg you that please stay with us. Because there's a system that will ensure that at 18, move and go and start your own life. We have 32, 40-year-old men and women still living with their parents. How undignifying. And so whenever we're having a conversation about unemployment, it's a serious conversation. In fact, there are people who might be watching us this morning and they are crying. You see, you have not, in fact, people who think that by the virtue of the fact that you are in the media, you can secure them employment. Audu, by the virtue of the fact that you are closer to the corridors of power, you can secure them employment.
I am not closer to the corridors of power.
No, the point I'm making is
don't let that mistake be made.
Are you not Dr. Bawumia's friend?
I am unrepentant supporter of Bawumia.
Yeah, that's the point I'm making. You can put in a word.
I am a non.
Yes, you can put in a word.
I am unrepentant supporter of Bawumia, but I am not within the corridors.
No, I'm saying that you can put in a word. You can put in a word. You see, if Lawyer Boate,
but that's a fact. That's a fact that everybody.
Yes.
People. Look, I have CVs with me.
Exactly.
Looking for jobs,
yes.
And sometimes I cannot just help.
That's the point.
Because of this situation, we all admit that there's a serious problem with unemployment. We admit that.
So that's why, of course, and finally on this, let's scrutinize the manifestos of these political parties when they come out.
Right.
Job creations will be at the top of the agenda.
Right.
And like they all tell us, look at their track record. Yes, these 2-point-something million that have been given jobs. Oh, it means they all march to the voting booth and go and vote for this administration. If they are there.
Not necessarily so.
Oh, no.
Not
hey.
necessarily so.
So you mean these people should be ungrateful that they've been given jobs?
You are being...
No.
You see, when you say you created 2.1, you mean you have added to already existing jobs.
Yes.
You understand?
So they should be grateful.
A bit of sarcasm. It's a bit of sarcasm. Look, there are people, you all know it.
Yeah.
There are people, we have friends, even in other political parties, very strong. They have helped you. They've done everything. Yeah. And yet when it comes to vote, you may not vote for them.
Okay.
So that is it. It's not necessarily everybody.
So let's talk about
jobs that
by the way, not all
these.
Away. And by the way, not all these 2-point-something million people are all MPP.
Okay.
There will be people who are NDC, and they will not leave their party. Some may migrate. They are all Ghanaians.
Independents.
Yes, they may vote for independence. They may vote for my good friend.
Cheddar.
The Lions man.
Cheddar.
Well, but if we're talking about voting pattern and all of that,
yes.
Fitch is also making their polls are showing that, well, from where it stands,
yes.
the NDC is in a very comfortable lead going into elections 2024. And I'm not saying this based on what happened the other time when we're told the NDC was in a comfortable lead.
No, that one is different.
That one is different, exactly. So this is the prediction. I mean, we've seen polls being conducted, putting John Dramani Mahama ahead of Dr. Bawumia. Yes, we were told even by the Global Info Analytics that in their latest poll, Dr. Bawumia seems to have increased a bit. John Mahama seems to have lost a bit in certain areas and all of that. And then your good friend, Cheddar, is also making inroads here and there, and Alan Chamartin is not capitalizing on all of those things. But the latest one from Fitch is that John Mahama is very likely to win the 2024 elections.
Okay. Are you coming to me?
Yes, I'm coming to you.
Have you seen the Fitch report? Do you see the full report? I have not seen it.
I've read reports.
I don't know the time if anybody knows the time that this survey was conducted. I know some time ago, Fitch gave a similar, in April, and they were quoting Info Analytics about this same 54%. And Info Analytics from April has moved from the 54 to 51 now in 3 months.
Yeah.
Former President Mahama was 54 in April this year. In June, he has moved to, is it July, the latest one?
Yeah. That's in June.
Yes.
Ended in June.
June. The latest one.
Yes.
He has moved from 54 to 51.
Yes.
So 3 percentage points.
Yeah.
I don't know what will happen with Info's this thing in another 3 months' time. I don't know what will happen. Whether it will go up or it will reduce by another. So I don't know. Polls, we are all probably students of research and political animals.
Yeah.
Polls globally or surveys have succeeded, they have failed, they have succeeded.
Yeah.
More have succeeded, more have failed. So when people do, I do not dismiss credible polls. You have to look at the variables. What are the variables? And work towards them. If you are a political party, you don't dismiss polls.
Right.
You look at the variables, the indicators and all that, and work towards improving your stance. If you are leading, how do you make sure that you either maintain your lead or you increase? If you are behind, how do you catch up and even overtake your opponent who is leading? So they tend to like guides to political parties or political actors. Yeah. So if you are a political party or a politician and these things come, don't dismiss them. What are the variables? You need to look at to able to, and I say that surveys do not win elections. Survey reports do not win elections. It's about your strategy. It's about your campaign message. These are the issues that is why somebody will come out with some survey report, and at the end of the polls, they may not come near, the results may not come near the survey predictions. Okay. So survey by themselves, as I said, are good, but they are not the ultimate. Okay. Now, I have seen the figures, the 54%. That's why I'm saying that I have looked at the two main variables. They spoke about the economy, and then the unemployment that we just talked about. Is that unemployment or something? One of the two main drivers of this.
But the economy sits on top.
Economy sits on top. Well, you see, I have always said something. Your economy in Greater Accra may not be my economy in Lambusi. That's why sometimes, and you see, what you feel, the inflation you may feel in a Greater Accra may not be the inflation I feel in my Lambus, in my hometown. What you see as your economy, as I said, it's not the same as somewhere else. So there are various aspects of considerations when people go into the ballot, the voting, the booth to vote. They consider so many things. And see, 2024 elections is unique. The dynamics are completely different. Never in the history of this country have we had the two main leading political parties having their candidates from the north. Never. And never in the history of this country that you have a former president contesting a sitting vice president. There are two main leading contenders. Never in the history of this country. So the dynamics are different in the election. So the surveys may be telling you something. If you don't work on the survey, you may be living a fool's paradise. So as I said, the real survey in anything is always on the day of election. And after, you know your smoothness level when the results are declared. Right. Whether the survey will confirm the outcome is after the polls.
It's after the polls.
It's after the polls. So the political parties, it's good for NDC to rejoice in it. But that enjoyment may be cut short if they don't work towards maintaining the victory. And MPP ran out per the Fitch prediction. If they don't work towards bridging the gap, then they are leaving power. So this, as I say, is a guide for the two major political parties. You are speaking about some people making inroads, like Cheddar, like others in various surveys. Look, I called some of those figures allotment of figures. Look, even the highest, most popular person in this country, you hear the name Guzi? Guzi Tano?
Yeah, Guzi.
He was actually like an heir apparent to GHOne Rawlings. When he broke away to form Reform Party in 2000. You know the figure he got? About 1%. Yes. And that time,
you won't talk about Dr. Pakwesindo.
Pakwesindo. he actually got less than 1%. So when people do research, people may say, they will mention it. On the election day, Ghanaians don't waste their votes. That's why you consistently see these two main parties always on top.
They know who they are going for.
They know, but they'll tell you. Somebody may say undecided and all that. They will know who they are voting. So if you give somebody an independent candidate 15% now, and people are rejoicing, I say that it's a fluke. Look, since 2000, as I said, this research is giving NDC, John Mama, 54%. Since 2000, the two elections that NDC has won, they've never made it 51%. In 2009, 2008, President Mills got 50.23%. After in an incumbent government that was, even in that election, the first round, then candidate Akufo-Addo led by over 100,000 votes. He needed less than 50,000 to win the first round. How many regions did he take to do that? about 2 regions. Now you come to 2012. 2012, former President Mahama won that election by 50.7%. With all the, 2012 election was the only election with it. Mm-hmm. Forget about what happened in how call it, time, in 2008. Yeah. But 2012 actually was the only election we did in 2 days.
Right.
The northern sector, most part of northern sector did their election on the 9th because of these. That you needed this biometric thing. Yes. People will wash their hands with kerosene.
Yeah. The point is.
The point is that, as I said, the surveys are good.
Okay.
They serve as pointers. Mm-hmm. They serve as pointers for political parties. But if you rely on surveys, say that you have won, you don't work on it, you may laugh at the wrong side of your mouth.
Well, so we'll come and have more on this. And IB and Council also tell us their points on that. But let me tell you about what is happening on July 21. It's a Sunday. The Arab Bank for Economic Development in Africa, Badia, will celebrate its 50th anniversary at the Kempinski Gold Coast City Hotel, Accra, Ghana. Now, this isn't just a celebration, but a time for elevation to a whole new level of growing partnership between Africa and the Arab region. So Badia will use the occasion to bring together the heads of all the top financial institutions of the Arab world and Africa for the historic launch of the Arab Africa Financial Consortium. Now, the event, which is part of the AU Media Summit here in Accra, will feature a leaders' breakfast with heads of states, heads of institutions, as well as other major economic decision makers, including CEOs, industrialists, and entrepreneurs from Africa and the Arab world. So dignitaries will include the President of Ghana, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, 12 other African leaders, Chairman of Badia, His Excellency Dr. Fahad Abdullahi Al-Dosari, the leaders of the big 8 financial institutions called the Arab Coordination Group, and many more, including representatives from all the region's major sovereign funds. To attend this event, all you need to do is to visit badiaevent.rsvpify.com. Let me take it again. It's badiaevent.rsvpify.com, or send a mail to rsvp@badia.org. You can also call us on 053-609-8325. That is 053-609-8325. We'll go for a quick break. We'll come back and continue the conversations right here. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Breakfast Review segment on GH Today on GHOne Television. Before we went for that break, you heard Audu Mahama talk about, also give a submission regards the Fitch prediction of John Mahama in a comfortable lead to win in the 2024 general elections. But let me come back to the studio now. Let me pick the thoughts of lawyer Kwesi Boateng on this particular one. Counsel, 51% prediction. In fact, win for John Dramani Mahama. 54 for John Dramani Mahama. In the 2024 elections. I mean, the polls, we've seen so many polls, and I'm sure that even before December, we are going to experience more of these polls. Their impact, really.
Who would win this election would be affected critically by what happens in the next 4 months, no doubt. However, what has happened in the last 3 years, and I'm not even talking about 7, what happened in the last 3 years, obviously has significantly impacted, what Ghanaians think about the current MPP government and whether or not they should continue in power. And there is no doubt that the current circumstances in Ghana, all of it, economic circumstances, the dollar rates, the increase in fuel prices consistently, all the other things that are happening have given a very strong indication that the MPP has not done as well as Ghanaians expected, and that Ghanaians want them out of power. If the trend does not change in the next 4 months, I have always said that I don't think that any party in opposition has ever won power in Ghana. It is always the party in power that loses power, and it just automatically falls on the party in opposition. Yeah. And from where I sit, I think the MPP is doing everything to want to go to opposition. Maybe they miss it. And there is a saying, he who the gods wants to kill, they first make mad. There are many things I feel they could have done better that they are not doing. There are many things they are doing which they should do differently. I don't see for the life of me why, for instance, the transport minister, would take a bill to parliament seeking to make MPs and ministers, have no speed limit and ride on convoys and sirens. Why would you do that?
To improve their work, to make their work easier.
Well, it makes you unpopular. You agree with me. I don't know why, for instance, it took the length of time it took, for the president to finally change the finance minister. It didn't add too much to their portfolios. You've had people as significant as the former Chief Justice match up and sit at the Ministry of Finance asking for their pension funds. You see, there have been episodes, and episodes keep unfolding. So if some of these episodes and the impunity with which they happen, if some of them are not kept, if the MPP doesn't suddenly regroup and realize that 4 months from now is not so far away. For instance, this commentary that Dr. Napo had to make about Nkrumah and the fact that Akufo-Addo is the best performing president in history, it was unnecessary. And if you are a party in power and you want to maintain that power, and you have 4 months, and you know that up to this point, so many things have happened, and you can blame it on Ukraine, Russia, you can blame it on COVID. The truth of the matter is that it's happened under your watch, and people blame you for it. It's not surprising that, the Labour government in the UK have finally lost power. The truth of the matter is that if you have supervised a certain regime, you will be responsible for it no matter what your justification is. And governments, you look at France, you look at the polls as it is even in the US, and it should tell you that you might have your justifications, you might say this happened because of COVID, you might say this is happening because of Ukraine, Russia. The truth of the matter is that Ghanaians are not happy. And as at this point, you are trailing. You don't need fish to tell you. The MPP know that they are trailing. And
they say they're breaking the 8.
Well, I have hoped that things will be different. And yet, 2 days ago, is it not that fuel prices? No, I had hoped that the MPP will realize they are trailing and do things differently, at least in the hope of pursuing the power. And yet, as recently as 2 days ago, did fuel prices not go up again? Today, you haven't seen that the dollar has gone up again. The truth of the matter is that we are currently on a declining trajectory. And if that does not stop and begin to change upwards, the MPP would accept their fate. And I believe that by now, a lot of the people who are in the echelons of power, who have not seen significant hope in the change, are preparing for opposition. And like I said, hopefully they miss it. And that has been the trend. Every 8 years, somehow, the people in power miss opposition. And they do everything to make sure they go back to opposition.
Right.
And that trend, for me, under this MPP, has not changed.
Has not changed. Okay. So Dixon Desire on Facebook says this unemployment situation is the cause of the NDC. In the 8 years of NDC's John Mahama government, how many youth did the NDC employ? Well, John Mahama has not been in power for 8 years, though.
NDC, not John Mahama.
No, but he says John Mahama government. John Mahama's government was not 8 years.
But you see, that's the problem I have with you people.
Oh, no, but I think he was...
No, John Mahama, you said, when he said John Mahama, he doesn't necessarily mean John Mahama.
Government.
UGMC. Then Mahama started UGMC.
If he's talking about the NDC, he should talk about the NDC.
Why? Mahama government is Mahama not part of.
Mahama. So Mahama. So we have corrected him.
There's one for you, Audu. Habiba Mumini says, there's no difference between Audu and Chinia. They are always defending the government. Okay.
Audu and what?
Chinia.
You are deputy minister there. You are deputy minister there.
Who is she defending?
Right. And there's this one here also. Dixon says the NDC should be there listening to Fitch reports. Dr. Baumia is on the grounds. working and telling Ghanaians what he can do to better the country. John Mahama and his NDC are there insulting and calling people names. And yet to tell Ghanaians what they are bringing, the NDC should be there. It will shock them. Yeah. So the conversation is ongoing there. People are getting heated under Edward Dugbaja says, Dixon Desire is Napo a member of NDC. He was calling our revered Osagyefo names, though we all know he and Jack Toronto are very incompetent. Okay.
Before I became, just a few seconds, he mentioned, look, don't let us go into how Napo described
Dr. Kuba.
This thing. I think it was a more Nkrumah. It was a slay. But if you want the way political parties and political actors describe Nkrumah in this country, we will not finish. So don't let us go there.
Okay.
In this, you mentioned Labour Party.
But you won't let I speak some. You spoke.
No. I said 30 seconds.
You want to react.
I'm not reacting to you. I'm not reacting to you.
You always have to react.
This man, why are you jittery? I want to respond to you. Because he has said so. The man said he was hoping.
The man spoke
Labour. So Labour
the man said he was praying for MPP. This man praying for MPP.
I was not praying for them. I was hoping that
do things differently.
Of course, it affects me.
That was a sarcastic hope.
Labour. So Labour came to power.
Labour won power.
No, Labour. They won.
Yes.
They won.
Yeah.
He was talking of a Conservative Party. That Conservative Party in the UK. Labour won power. It's not obvious. Conservative Party has been in power for 40 years.
Okay.
You know that.
Oh, yeah.
And within Brexit was actually the cause of Conservative Party. Within Brexit up to now, they changed within the same party. They changed 5 prime ministers. 5 prime ministers. So
what
I
I'm
tell you
saying
that,
is that
the
UK's problem has also been economic problems. And people have not forgiven them because of COVID.
Sorry.
Now, if you're calling me and you don't call me by my name.
Let me say Nana.
It's better.
Let me say Nana, because I'm used to Nana.
Yeah.
Look, I said the real pool. In elections, the dynamics are very different. I said the economy is not the only variable in determining this thing. Look, I always cite United States, what do you call it? Their midterm elections. All the polls said these people were losing. Democrats were losing. What happened? Just one thing.
What are you reacting to?
Okay.
I'm not reacting. I'm just making a point.
I made the submission. Everybody heard this.
Not you. I'm not responding to you. No, I'm not responding to you. I'm not responding to you.
On the Fitch prediction and then the polls that we have seen thus far.
Okay, so far, if I'm keeping tabs, then it will be the Economic Intelligence Units.
Yes.
It will be Global Info Analytics.
Yes.
Fitch Solution. And then Professor Smart Sapon, his own went that the MPP will win. So 3 so
against
far we've
1.
seen against 1. Okay.
The real one is December 7th.
Exactly. My take on polls is that they are guides, 1. 2, they actually help with campaign funding. See, NDC will go to the financiers with this. And trust me, they will get funding for the campaign. It's good. It's good. Aside that, I can sit there, look at the numbers, and say that since 1992, after every 8 years,
there's a change.
And then say that if we are to go by that, NDC will win this year's elections. Pastors are predicting the outcome of December 7 elections. They are allowed to.
Which pastors?
My only challenge is that they will add prophecy. If it's a prediction,
the one that recently presented has Kodjo. They went to the match.
If it's a prediction, you are allowed. My only challenge is when you clothe it with prophecy, then it means that God has revealed something to you. Then I have a problem.
Never come to pass.
Now, personally, I've followed elections since 1996, since I became conscious. I can tell you that if MPP is to win December 7 elections, it will be by the slimmest of margins we've ever seen. Slimmest of margin. However, if MPP is to lose December 7 elections, the margin will be scary. I'm telling you, the margin will be scary. Now, reverse is a reality. If the NDC is to win, usually the NDC has never won, first time asking from opposition. with a margin more than 52%.
Yeah.
With a margin more than 52%.
Which year are you referring to?
No, I'm saying that has never won. I'm saying that first time asking with a margin. So, for instance,
they've never even won 51%.
We are not getting.
Are you sure in 1992 Jerry Rawlings didn't
I
get?
didn't say. I said post 2000.
Post.
I said
Okay,
2000.
post.
Yes. So I'm talking about after Rawlings' era.
After Rawlings, the highest they won is 50%.
Two
Yes.
elections.
Yes, but
only one from opposition.
Yes, that's
one
the
in
point. So
government.
So I'm talking about the one
that
from
was the 2008.
Only one.
Yeah.
Because
the one in
what
government
he's
was with
saying
an improvement.
It's only once.
One in government was an improvement.
Was an improvement on
50.7.
the one that came from opposition. The one that came from opposition was even after a runoff.
Yes.
That's the late President Mills. But if the NDC is to win this year's election, its margin will be larger than it has ever
recorded.
I'm telling you. Now, we have 4 months. Can government attend to the concerns raised by Fitch? Well, Fitch is more or less like a financial institution, so to speak. They are looking at the economy. They are looking at the impact of DDEP and the fact that those who were affected are still weeping.
Yeah.
And there's nothing government can do about that. You took their money from them. There's nothing you can do.
So those whose hair were cut, the hair has not grown.
There's nothing you can do. You can only appeal to them and say that we had to do this because of ABC. And it's up to them to tell you they understand you or they don't. Right? The president has directed that over 1.5 billion be released to pay people whose monies have been locked up as a result of the financial sector cleanup. It's up to government to ensure that they get their money. And it's up to them to say that it's better late than never. Or it is late. The point I'm making is that there are many people who are weeping, who are wailing, who are in pain, and they vote. If government is able to address their concerns, why not? Within the form, if government is not able to address their concerns, you can be rest assured that they're going to vote against you. So,
or they won't vote at all.
Yeah.
Or some of them will not vote at all. And if they don't vote,
of your party,
if they don't vote, they are voting against you.
Yeah, exactly.
Good. That's why I say these surveys, these reports are guides. It's up to government to use this, the MPP to use this to their advantage, for the NDC to equally use this to their advantage. If the NDC decides to be complacent with this, they will be shocked. And that's the reality. Because what matters is the number of people who put their thumb-printed ballot papers in the box, sorted, counted, declared. And to some extent, how well you are able to also police the ballot. Nothing more, nothing less. The first horse has bolted, and that is the registration exercise. If you're unable to get your people to register, their names will not be on the voters register, they cannot vote. If you're able to, then it's up to you to get them to vote on election day. That's all that matters. That is all, and in every democracy, that's all that must matter. Look to your weaknesses, work on them, reinforce your strength, both sides, and we go. You talk about Cheddar and Alan.
Yeah.
Whoever says that they can be dismissed and they will play no role, they will have no impact, then you are not a politician. Prepare as if they will have an impact and neutralize their impact to your advantage. But if you sound dismissive of them, you'll be laughing at the wrong side of your mouth. But like I said, come December 7th, that's the ultimate poll. That's the ultimate survey. And that's where, I'm sure the day after, probably by midday of the next day, if you are watching EIB on our platforms, you know that people whose smoothness levels have been established will be then projected for you to know as to who is winning and who is losing, right? For Parliament, I think I sat here and told you before 2020 that Parliament was looking more like the governing party was losing Parliament. And the signs were there. People had said it. Right? In the end, we had a tie. Come December 7th, Parliament won't have a close shaving anymore. No. Whoever will have majority will have majority. Whoever will have minority will have minority. It won't have to take any independent person to decide who controls Parliament. No two ways about that.
Yeah, and I've heard the president say that he would never wish this kind of Parliament on his worst enemy. Because it's not yielded the results that we would have thought that a hung Parliament of a sort would have actually yielded.
At least this Parliament that I know, I think, look, they may disagree with me. This has been the worst Parliament I've seen in this republic. In the Fourth Republic, sorry. Worst. Look, look at the work they have done. It's not just about people shouting and knocking heads. Look at the work they have done, the actual work they have done, this parliament. Intransigent positions, the governing party sometimes intransigent, the opposition sometimes intransigent, and that they've held those views. And it's not helping this democracy. We should not. Look, I think it would have been better even if a governing party had minority in parliament. That way, look,
you know exactly what you are dealing with.
You know what you are dealing with. But to say it is equal, look, everybody is showing its powers.
And that's what we are seeing with the bill.
Yes, they are all showing their powers.
The human sexual rights and
that is it.
Family values bill,
it is something.
and the court saying,
look, as I've
deferred my ruling.
IB said, look, if we are going to have a parliament next time, I think we should have a majority.
A clear majority.
A clear majority. Even if it is four MPs. We should not have this way. That way they can look. If you are ruling and your party is even in minority, you know how to deal with the majority.
You know how to lobby well.
And move on. But now everybody thinks that we have the numbers, and we will.
It does not help us.
It's not helping.
Okay.
And the real polls, Abi, you agreed, will be in. Look, I'll tell Ghanaians that this 2024 election will be a different election that nobody has seen before. Mark it on the wall.
Right. Have we heard from Benefsin so far?
Not yet. He says he's still working.
Okay.
He's still putting together the figures.
Look, you people, you are veering out to. I've worked with that man for 8 years.
Yes.
And
you were a field officer.
I was a field officer. I took data. In fact, I said it here. We're supported by Danida and USAID. We had a company called GHOne. That was the research arm of Dispatch. Allied News. We did extensive work those days. And if you know, until recently, the predictions that he did, those when we collected data, if they were consistent, they were up. Along the line, things have changed. And so I have said that, look, these days, Ghanaian, the demographics have changed, movements, everything. If you want to do research in this country, you have to be very careful. You have to be top notch. That's why even though I don't dismiss polls, I see that a lot of these things going around are not actually accurate. If you look at data collection, if you look at methodology and all that, some of these things are mushroom. And if you have done any research, you know that this one, look, even the sampling size, how they take their sampling size from the constituency is not it's problematic. Look, let's ignore these. Look, political parties should not ignore some of these polls, as we all agreed. But they will not determine the election on December.
Okay.
They will not.
Well, let's wrap up with the Supreme Court and then the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill. Let me come to you.
Go to the lawyer.
Of course, I'm starting with the lawyer. Supreme Court says, you know what, I'm deferring my ruling on these applications, the injunctions that you are seeking on this particular bill. I'm deferring it till we get to hear from the substantive case itself.
I don't honestly know why we are where we are on this bill. All these antics and shenanigans going on surprise me, and it is so because I had no doubt in my mind what the position of the president on gay and anti-gay is. But look, all of these things that are happening is because the president doesn't want to assent to the bill. It's the truth. Injunction, they're just using the court system to buy time. What I don't understand is why the president believes that he must buy time until his term is over. And, well, the MPP so much as believe that they will win the next election. The president wants Bawumia to be the one to rather sign it.
Well, it will not be him.
And why not? His position was very clear. If we didn't want this bill to pass, we should have stopped it right from the beginning of it in Parliament. It's gone through the full course. And now whether or not the president has to sign it is to be determined by the Supreme Court. I don't know. I'm a lawyer, but this one beats me. And, when we use the judicial system in the way that we're using it, it's very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. When it comes to whether or not Ghanaians want a law to regulate the practice of homosexuals, I think that, you have a sense of it from the general public. And so the feeling that there are powers from somewhere controlling our finances, most of whom feel that the passage of this law, will
block those
the
channels.
assent, yes, and therefore it's almost as though the president has been held in hostage. Because I know that the president would have signed this. The reason is unknown to me, and the fear that somebody is holding him hostage is even more worrying. If they can hold you hostage to passing this law, to assenting this law, what else are they holding you hostage to? It's worrying for me. I only hope that, and the Supreme Court does its work per the schedule that they have, I only hope that some closure will come to this entire matter sooner rather than later.
Right. Ivy.
Yes.
I'll wrap up with our
So I'm a layman, right? So I'll speak as such. It's
And I have not spoken as a lawyer, though.
In fact, that is why I was going to say, the man never spoke as a lawyer.
It's befuddling that two people will come to court, right, and ask for something. The court says, okay, let me hear the argument, and then I will determine the merit of your application as to whether to grant it or not, right? But in the meantime, whatever you are seeking, and that to stop Parliament from transmitting the bill, you have been successful in doing that. So the presidency says, don't bring it. So as the status quo remains, Amanda and Richard Sky, they've been granted what they requested. Now, Supreme Court then hears the argument, right? We were there with our cameras. Used precious time.
Did you say they granted?
No, hold on. I'm coming. I'm making the point.
Continuous pendency of the application. An injunction.
We sent our cameras there, beamed it to homes and what have you, wasted data, right? Now the panel comes and tells us that we have a decision. We have a decision as to whether to grant it or not. But guess what? We are not going to tell you the decision. We won't give the ruling. We are going on legal vacation. We'll return in October. Come on. Come on.
Is it unlawful? Is it unlawful?
Come on.
Is it unlawful?
See, you see,
Every away fatal.
You see, the point I'm making is that it's indicative of the fact that we are probably deploying antics and tactics and gymnastics, right? You know how long it will take for Parliament to expire? Yeah, come January 7th. Parliament expires, and that Parliament will expire with this bill. Yeah, the Parliament will expire with this bill. If you want to have this bill again, the ninth Parliament will have to take it afresh, like it never existed. So you still have the sponsors who will then have to come on. Creditors. Anyway, so that's it.
Okay. The good news is that the two main leading contenders say they are against it.
Exactly.
And if they come, if it is,
they've not spoken about the bill. None of them has spoken about the bill.
That's what the bill, because they are very careful.
On the bill.
Actually, you see, now, it's not even a bill anymore.
It's been passed.
It's law. It's just the president has to assent.
For it it's still a bill. Technically, it's still a bill.
I mean, if Parliament,
it's a bill. It's a bill.
All you need is the assent of the president.
I am not sure anybody is suggesting that those who went to court were sent by President Akufo-Addo. I'm not sure, because Amanda, although that's started this agitation many years, even before this, about this human rights thing, about this, many years before this bill was even.
And then there is Richard Sky.
Richard Sky, he's recent. And I'm not sure President sent any of them to go to court.
Yes, but why did the president write to Parliament to not bring it?
Oh, is
it?
Not
transmit the bill.
Not transmit.
Not transmit the bill. Why?
Because
the president told us about the legal action before the plaintiffs went to court.
You see, that's a problem.
No, that's a fact.
Problem. There were two issues. You see, because there's no time. Look, at the time he spoke about that, Amanda Odoi's this was in court.
Earlier, injunction
before, look, there were two.
Have been dismissed. The earlier one had been dismissed.
No.
Remember,
It was no. It was interlocutory injunction that was dismissed, but the real case was pending.
I get you.
But the pendency of the case that not stop him.
Yes, I agree.
It was pending.
That I agree.
So the man didn't
These are all
say.
just
The president didn't say there was an injunction. He said there was a case.
He said, yeah, in
He didn't
court.
say, yes.
Yeah,
He
but
didn't
there's
say.
a case
He
and there's no
didn't say.
injunction.
So don't misquote.
You-
Nobody should misquote the president.
you assent-
Don't misquote the
Yeah.
president,
Look.
but the president clearly.
Yo,
as it stands
this is
now-
not the first time. This is
Right.
not the first time that
Okay.
some of these things, rulings have been deferred. If you remember, just 2020 election petition, when the respondents in the election petition was praying the court to rule to dismiss the case outright.
Yeah.
The Supreme Court deferred that one and said they were going to determine that after considering the whole issue.
And that's not deferring. That's ruling against you. If you want the matter to be determined, summarily, and they say no, we want to go into the
We'll
merits.
defer, but it's not the
It's not
same.
deferring.
But it's not the same.
I went for legal-
What is different from this one? What is different from?
you are
You are
saying
lawyer.
that-
What is different?
No, it's not deferring. You see,
What's the difference?
You say, oh,
You want them to rule on interlocutory.
you don't.
You
What
want
it
them to
means is
rule on
that
interlocutory.
Let me give the lawyer the last.
No,
word.
I will not.
what it means is that
He didn't speak like
you
a
don't
lawyer.
want them. You don't want them to go into the merits, and they say no. We want to go into the merits.
Yes.
That's not deferring.
But this one,
that's
this
a
is-
ruling
no.
against your request not to
Exactly.
go into the merits.
No, they said they would defer.
No, but eventually that was
They didn't
it.
give that
Yeah,
ruling.
eventually they
They moved against it.
They
moved against you
no, but they
indirectly.
deferred. But they deferred that
So
ruling.
your microphone
The
is
point I'm making,
off.
time is
So
of
the
essence.
public is not
This-
hearing. Ibrahim, your microphone is off. Gentlemen, thank you so much. It's been amazing, and we'll look forward to having more of this. And I had Audu Mahama in the studio firing Nana Kwesi Boete, private legal practitioner, and Ibrahim Al Hassan joining me for this segment on the GH Today. We are back with more right after this. Stay with us.
Allow people to focus on the assets, and then other guys to explore the services that goes into the transport. So there is the insurance provider, there is the repairer, there is the washing guy. I see a lot of guys now doing mobile washing services. I see a lot of guys doing other things. So those auxiliary services that are within the sector, you can use technology to enable them and make it easier. Whilst you are sitting in the studio, you can request a service and someone can come and provide it for your vehicle. And the future is big because anyone who makes money right out of school, the next thing that you're trying to do is to buy a car.
I have to buy a car.
Exactly. So I see the future as very bright. I see us also adopting, very good technologies from other parts of the world, and then bringing it down here to be able to use. So it's very exciting. I think an area where some work is being done, and I encourage a lot of private sector participation beyond the traditional. I respect the GPRT people so much because my dad was once a GPRT chairman.
Okay.
But I think that a lot of people should also look at that sector again and explore how can we make it more convenient, how can we make it more robust. We have an impact program that we call Mini Mejuma Road Safety Campaign, where we get our team to train or sensitize drivers and their mates on customer service, how to defensive driving and all these things. And all these things are trying to shake up the sector to make it more friendly, how we want it. We can't just sit on the fence and say, mates are talking to you anyhow and all that. There are things that they just don't know. So how do we provide training? How do we provide sensitization? How do we collaborate with other industry people to bring the whole sector up? And once it's up, it benefits everyone.
It benefits everybody. But talking about public transport system and looking at the congestion, the gridlocks in Accra, and infrastructure. You've touched so much on infrastructure, but one of the things people also say is that, this business is also hampered by the quality of our roads. Our road networks do not allow transport business to even flourish.
It's a yes or a no. I mean, maybe my mindset makes it difficult for me to focus so much on the problems. I mean, that is something, as the business person, what can you do about a road infrastructure problem? You can't really do much about it. I mean, the people who are supposed to do that are being paid to do their jobs. We can hope that, the citizens will either vote or select or whoever is put in that position to deliver on what they want to do. But as a business, private person, you can't build roads. But how can you, provide a service in a way that the customer would be able to appreciate? We have a situation where prices are changed when, because the roads are bad, the driver is saying, oh, I'm charging this, or maybe it's evening. How do you find a system where you can take advantage of that problem that customers have? So am I able to put a vehicle there that is saying, okay, no matter what the situation is, I've done my cost-benefit analysis and know that I can still repair my cars, but I'm charging a fixed amount and people would want to use. It might not be a straightforward situation, I would admit, but that's something to try. So things as critical as infrastructure problems, for the service provider, I can't really say much about that. Maybe other people who are interested in the sector can also find financial support and approach government to say, hey, we can be able to fix these routes. And that's also another industry or another area of the transport system that people can explore. Yeah.
Okay. So 2 years ago, 40 under 40.
Yeah.
Clearly, you're a young man.
Right.
And there are a lot of young people out there listening and watching us today.
Right.
And Charlie, no, the way the guy talked, I want to be like Mike.
Okay.
I also want to, Charlie, I have a guy in the newsroom who also read your course in university.
Okay.
Then he went on to do another degree in media studies. Yeah. And so what would be the message for like-minded young men out there, young women out there who want to be like Mike?
I mean, I always say it's a mindset. So it's peculiar to me. It's not for everybody.
Right.
There was a clarion call during our independence. I mean, it might not be a cliche, that we should be able to manage our own affairs. You listen to, a rendition of our national anthem and it says, Yenara Assassini. And these are very serious things that I don't think we should take it lightly.
Right.
And anything that you are building yourself is very difficult. So what I would tell, young people is that once you put your mind to wanting to achieve something, you need to put in the work. You need to find the information. GHOne, I don't think they just woke up and just built it. So it takes time, basically that's really what I was going to say. That get information, be very passionate about what you are trying to do, talk to people, make the mistakes. Because if you make the mistakes, it may become experiences for you. And you will do well, if you are very convinced about what you're trying to do. Right now, there are also a lot of incubator programs around. My good friend Solomon is the president of Ghana Startups Association. They are at there is this place around the Outdoor Cemetery, Accra Digital Center. Yes. Approach these guys, talk to them. There are a lot of funded programs, incubator programs that you can learn. You can have access, if you have a brilliant idea, you can have access to capital and all this. So let's explore these things. I think maybe focusing on the problems a lot limits our prospects. But if we talk to people, if we explore opportunities. So for example, in the early days, we also was able to apply for a funded program by Orange Corners. It's a Netherlands program with support with Fidelity Bank. And because our model made sense to them, we were able to secure some funding to develop our business. So let's not look at one area. Let's not blame certain people in certain contexts that, they are not helping us. Let's look, because nobody sent you.
That's it.
You said you wanted to do this business. So you need to find a way. Thank you very much.
Michael, thank you. Thank you so much. Michael Osei is founder and CEO of TSG Drive Transport and Logistics. Let's do some birthdays before we wrap up the show. A happy birthday to you. And I'll let you know that this is actually as a result of all the team members you have. They said they wanted you here on your birthday. So this is a special birthday surprise to you. Your team say they love you so much. They appreciate the good things that you're doing and, of course, wishing you the very best. So you have to be on GHOne today. So thanks to your team for dragging you here for us this morning. Right, so that's... great. And that's how we draw the curtains on GH Today on GH1 Television. We are back next week, same time, with amazing content for you. Do have a wonderful weekend. And remember to make sure that you're staying safe so that we can see each other on Monday, God willing. Have a wonderful weekend.